Morning everyone, it's Yvonne back to do your bonus read. We're going to use the Golden Tarot for your reading this morning. The camera's not quite right. I was talking to somebody in New York yesterday. I guess that's the most incredible thing about the work I do. I talk to people all over the world. I had 3 people in New York yesterday. I guess that's only a small component of New York. But it was snowing. They've had a really cold winter after a couple of mild winters. And of course you're sitting here in Australia absolutely sweltering your little butt off. And they're over there freezing. And it sort of makes you realise, how incredible it is that we live in a world like we do. I don't know, I often think about the fact that we have this, incredible universe that can show us so many things, but I never want to start thinking about the why are we here thing, because then it just blows my mind that we have so much around us and so much to be grateful for. Okay, so we have the 5 of Cups jumping out, which was the card that came out first in the What's Cracking reading. So I feel like here you might get a little bit of a tip into the same energy. All right, Spirit, just give us what we need this morning. Obviously, we need a little reminder about learning our lessons and moving on, being true to who we are. 6 of Wands coming through, victory being shown to you. You're being shown something here. The universe is about to show you something. So if you're having trouble working out what you need to do to move forward, I feel like you're going to get some sort of sign from the universe here to help you work out what it is. All right. Nice split again. Beautiful. All right. So we have the Knight of Wands coming through. The Knight of Wands talks about passionate, fast movement. It's a very quick action. It's making your mind up and going for it. It's very, very quick. It's a card of action. The Wands are fast. Why? Because we're doing it with passion. We're doing it with this beautiful energy that we feel we have behind something. So we want to make a change here. The Knights are cards of action. So something happening very, very quickly here. There appears to have been some sort of being left out in the cold, being left behind. Maybe you've been left out in the cold by someone who didn't commit or didn't put down roots with you. Somebody who may have had other things to attend to with this Knight of Wands energy. This guy can sometimes be seen as a player or somebody who won't commit to something. And I feel like somebody like that may have moved away from a circumstance with you leaving you feeling like you've been left out in the cold. There's always a lesson to be learned, even from these circumstances. People go, oh, it wasn't my fault. He ran away. He didn't want to be with me, and he left me out in the cold. Well, instead of thinking of all of that, stop and think for a moment, what did I have to learn from this? What did I do in this circumstance? You can sit there and think, well, I didn't do anything. He left me out in the cold. There's always a reason. There's always a lesson there for you. The lesson could be something like taking your time with people in relationships. Don't rush relationships. Don't expect other people to want the same thing as yourself. Don't expect that everybody has in mind that they even want a relationship. Maybe this guy knew in the beginning you didn't. Did you have that conversation? So there's always a lesson for you to learn from this energy, because we have the Ace of Swords here. So I feel like somehow or another from this circumstance, there is a brand new start. And this start now is built with more clarity. You're understanding the direction you need to go in, and you have learned the lesson that came from this, whatever that lesson was for you. And it's certainly not closing yourself down, closing your heart down, and then treating people really angrily because you've had a bad experience. But it's a learning experience. Maybe you need to be better at communicating moving forward. Maybe you need to understand that not everybody's like you and not everybody wants the same things. Perhaps other people want to go on their way. And I heard somebody yesterday who was very, very out there and negative and said, ghosting people is a cowardly thing. It is a cowardly thing, absolutely. But I don't really understand all the reasons behind it. I don't understand the reasons behind people wanting to protect themselves or their fear of speaking up and about what they want. I don't even attest to knowing half the reasons people do what they want. We've all been ghosted. We've all been, put in a position where we haven't been spoken to. And it's heartbreaking, it really is. But it's that person's choice. We're not responsible for their choices. If that's what they choose to do, so be it. You can't do anything about that. And sitting around getting angry because somebody hasn't done it for you or hasn't spoken up is certainly not helping you to grow. So what you've got to be able to do is go, well, you know what? I forgive you for that and I'm moving on. Because it's not something that you can sit and stew about. And it's certainly not something that you need to get angry about. You might be angry in the moment and I feel, well, okay, that's probably okay. But don't hang on to it. You have no control about what other people are doing. You cannot control what people choose to do. This is the clarity that's coming through for you at the moment. This is the energy of what you're starting to understand. I am only responsible for what I act upon. I can't control what other people are doing. So therefore, if something like that happens, I can control the way I respond to it. So this is absolute clarity here. There is something here coming out of this circumstance that you have learned something from, because you have the Judgment card here. So for some of you, it may be getting a second chance at something. For others of you, it may be some sort of rebirth, realization, ending of a cycle, learning the lessons here that help you to understand how to move through something without taking things personally. Taking things personally is very difficult for us to understand, but we can't take other people's actions on board. Even if they've hurt us, even if they've cut us to pieces, that's their responsibility. They have to live with that. And I think they do. I don't think people do that and then just walk away. They have to deal with the energies themselves. So some sort of rebirth is coming through here because there's an ending of a negative cycle. I feel like somehow or another you're being shown something by spirit here. And it may be that you need to meditate. Now, I see the Ace of Cups here, and I could feel this right at the beginning. There is a lesson that you need to learn about how to love and how to accept here. Something you're doing here. Maybe you're being too giving in relationships. Maybe you're being too codependent. Maybe you're being too needy. But there's a lesson here for you to learn because the universe is trying to bring you in new love here. But you're still stuck on some sort of energy of the past where somebody walked away without giving you an explanation. And I hear people often saying, but I need the closure. Sometimes you'll get closure and sometimes you won't. Sometimes you just won't get closure. Sometimes you won't get an explanation. Sometimes people will never come forward and tell you why they did what they did. But you know what? Again, you cannot take that personally. You cannot be responsible for someone else's actions. They have chosen what they have chosen. And you need to choose now to be invested in yourself and move on. Something here you're needing to learn. Okay, so Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy coming through here. The Queen of Swords is a person who, she doesn't hold back. She's honest, she's outspoken. Closure is an illusion. That's what the universe is saying. Closure is an illusion. Maybe that's what somebody needs to hear. The Queen of Swords here is not afraid to speak up or speak out, but she's also very clear about how she wants to move forward here. And she may just remember that cutting people out is okay too. So sometimes you just have to walk away and realize you don't have to persevere with something. You don't have to hang on. You can cut it away. All right, so we have a King of Cups. You could be dealing with Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio here, or a Leo with the Sun energy. And Two of Cups. I feel like for some of you here, the universe is sending you in somebody else here so you can see your own value. I feel like sometimes, when people do that to us, we question our own value, we question our own integrity, we question the fact that people would do things to us that perhaps we would never do to anyone else. But then maybe we have a more codependent energy and maybe we're more empathic. Maybe the person you're dealing with doesn't have an empathic nature. But somebody here is coming in very rapidly that's bringing in a great deal of happiness for you. Let's just keep going. All right, so we have the King of Pentacles coming through with the Seven of Coins, Seven of Pentacles and the High Priestess. Getting a lot of repeat cards here after your cracking reading this morning. There is sort of this feeling here that you need to listen to your intuition more. So maybe whoever you were dealing with in the past, you weren't really listening to your intuition. Maybe there were red flags there and you ignored them. Somebody said to me one day that the guy that they'd met had told them right from the beginning they didn't want a commitment. And this person kept pushing them to make a commitment. And they didn't want a commitment. So when this person disappeared, they're like, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what happened. I wanted to be with this person forever. But they told you right from the beginning that they didn't want a commitment. Is that not a red flag? Is that not an indication? I mean, if this person's telling you they want to spend the rest of their life with you and then they disappear, I guess that's a little different. But still, at the end of the day, it's still their choice to do that. But because society teaches us that we've been rejected, we tend to sort of pin that on ourselves and we wear it as an honourable badge. But at the end of the day, you can't make someone choose you if it's not what they want. And this is the energy that's coming through in this reading. But I feel like the universe here is sending you somebody here who's going to want the same things as you. But it also could mean for some of you that this is a person who's changed their mind here. Someone who's decided that actually what you wanted was what they wanted, but maybe they were fearful at the time, scared, angry, confused by their feelings. But there's some sort of energy here of this person possibly coming back in. All right, so we have the Three of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Seven of Wands. I feel like somebody is going to contact you here. And it may be this person that left you out in the cold coming back in to explain why they did what they did. And again, I feel like a lot of people do this, stepping away from things they don't want because of their fear of hurting others. It's a very strong codependency thing. When you feel that, you can't hurt someone, but you don't want to speak up to look after yourself. So there's an energy here that somebody has to put something right here. They feel deeply about this, that they did something that they shouldn't have done. And there's an apology here. I feel like this person has been here to teach you something. You could have been dealing with someone who had been tasked at helping you to open up and understand something about yourself. And maybe this was for you just learning about your own self-value, learning who you are, learning what you want. But somebody here has been tasked with the energy here of helping you to learn a lesson. But I feel like they probably had their own lesson to learn too. All right, let me just put some more cards on this. I feel like somebody has run out and left you in the cold. I feel like you've had some sort of learning here, and there appears to be a rebirth after closing down some sort of cycle. There is something in your shadow here that need to be brought to the surface, and I feel like it's something to do with your self-worth, because that seems to be evident here. There may be a period of healing now, but there is love in the future. So what you've got to remember is that somebody is still going to offer you love in the future. But maybe this energy here is you loving yourself And maybe that was what was missing from the very beginning. Now, not everybody who ghosts us, leaves us out in the cold, or does the wrong thing by us is a romantic partner either. But whatever this person is, there's some sort of soulmate connection here. There's some sort of lesson that needed to be learned from this experience. So if it isn't a romantic person for you, it's very likely it could be a family member or a friend here that's done this to you. You know, sometimes we want to speak up and we want to have that conversation to clear the air, and somebody just disappears because they're fearful of telling you the truth or saying they don't want anything more to do with you. And of course, that is the whole trick here. This is where the communication is so important. So maybe you both had a lesson to learn around communication. There is something here you are both learning. Oh, look at this. There's a brand new start here with the Fool. All right, let's have a look. The Empress coming through with the 9 of Wands. The Moon. Woohoo. Deep, dark lesson here. 2 of Coins. Again with the repeat cards. 3 of Wands. Definitely about being future focused rather than sitting on the past. So first of all, there's a lesson there for somebody who's stuck in their past here. Because when you're stuck in the past, you're not releasing that energy and you can't move forward. I always say it's like a hook in the back of your britches holding you back. There is something that's about to be shown to you here that's going to help you move forward. Some sort of energy here that's going to bring you into this Empress energy. I feel like there's a need here because you've been hanging on to something for quite some time and you're stopping yourself from manifesting here. And there's also this really deep energy here of learning to trust your intuition. Maybe there were always signs there that you were ignoring, but you weren't really understanding the signs, or you weren't taking notice of them. You think you can change someone, perhaps something in that regard. Because there's this energy of repeating this pattern here, without a doubt. So it's not the first time it's happened to you, is it? Maybe for some people it is, but you don't want to repeat it again. And with the Wounded Warrior here, there's a strong caution about not repeating this pattern. There is something deep inside of you, some sort of insecurity, way of thinking, way of doing things that needs to be let go of. And you have a choice here on how to move forward. But in order to do that, you've got to acknowledge a way that you've been doing things that's not working. And maybe your thing is controlling others. Maybe your thing is not seeing red flags. And maybe your thing is not realizing your own value. But there's a strong codependent energy here. And when we talk codependency, that we're talking about placing yourself lower than other people, putting other people on a pedestal, expecting things from other people that you would do yourself. They are all codependency. And I feel like here one of those lessons is for people listening. Because something is happening here to help you to realize this. And I feel like for some of you, this person is coming back around to finish what they started. And there is communication coming through. It may not be what you want to hear, but it's certainly something that's going to help you close out this cycle. All right. The energy is gaining momentum. Something is building here. Waxing moon. I think we've had this over the last couple of days. You know, it looks remarkably familiar to me. During the waxing moon cycle, hope springs eternal. This card is a very positive omen, indicating that you can create the reality you're dreaming of, although it will take some work and you're not quite there yet. This is a time of energies rising up and emotions are building too. Where do you want to go, and do you believe you can get there? Either you can just keep meditating and focusing on your desired outcome, or you can make the courageous commitment to take practical steps towards your goal. Whatever you decide, you are most certainly on the right track. Very interesting reading. I will leave you with that. Thank you.